And top of the morning, everybody. Good to have you with us as we get going on a Wednesday. A little hot takes with Renck and Haertl today. Eric is off an assignment south of the border. Now, the joke, of course, is that that's where Eric can belong, south of the border. You know, that's the one place that would take him, right? So we won't make that joke, but we'll enjoy Troy's accompaniment here for the next 3 days. And, of course, Troy will be taking over on Hot Takes with Goodman and Renck starting next week, the week after. Who knows? Whatever the Broncos end up deciding to do. How are you this morning, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. I have big shoes to fill. If people understand how good you are at what you do, Bruce, not just this, but your journalism career. So I'm flattered and honored that I'm going to be able to move into a show that it once included you. So I'm looking forward to it, but not looking forward to seeing less of you around the locker room and the clubhouse.
Well, you're kind to say it. I actually am looking forward to being gone. So no, it's funny when you get closer to it. It's always the people. It's nothing. It's never anything else. It's always about the people that you leave behind. And the people that you see. I mean, the beauty of covering the Broncos, for instance, the way that we cover it is that I get to see guys like you and so many others each and every day, and you share a commonality in the way that you cover the team. And we all have different perspectives and things of that nature, but it's a really fun thing to develop those kinds of friendships. People always ask me about the level of competitiveness in the sports market in Denver. And I say, there really isn't any. I said, everybody is just we're all doing the very same, similar kinds of things. And yes, you want to get things right. Sometimes you want to get them first. And that can be a motivating factor. But by and large, it's just the relationships that you build, in my case, over the course of 10 years, in your case, in the course of, what now? How many years have you been in this market?
37 32. Sorry, 32.
I mean, that's staggering to think of the number of people that you've come into contact and been affected by during the course of 32 years. So pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get to two things. We were texting last night, or texted once, about the Lakers and where the Lakers and the Nuggets were. Yeah, last night to me, Troy, was a Nuggets doing what they needed to do to be competitive. But at the end of the day, the difference between the two teams and the need to get back healthy, particularly with some size, was really hammered home for me. The Nuggets were just pounded on the boards in this game. And by the time the game was done, by the time they got to the end of 48 minutes, you really saw the need for the Nuggets to be whole. This has been a great story, a good little story. I'm not going to go great. A good little story of kind of surviving in the absence of Jokic, Valanciunas, the guys that are out at this particular point. But it was also a reminder of it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what are they now, 7-5 without Jokic?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I believe. So I said when this happened that, David Adelman could show why he's the head coach, why he deserves it. He's an offensive genius in the way he empowers guys to play their individual game within a team concept. But eventually, it's like in our baseball background, Bruce, if you play a utility player over the course of a few days, it looks great. If you play him for a few weeks, you're like, oh, that's why he doesn't play against lefties. Right. I mean, eventually you get exposed. And they got exposed last night on the boards. And it came down, they just stopped making shots. They were up 71-57 at half. They had an 8-0 run at the end of the half where it was just alley-oop to Gordon from Murray that was unreal. And then a three by Watson, deep three, and then a beyond half court by Murray. And you're like, okay, they're going to win this game because the Lakers don't play defense. Right. They defend the three worse than anybody. But the problem is you got to make them still. And they stopped making threes. I think they only made 3 in the second half. They had 12 in the first half. That's why they lost that, and they had no second shots, to your point. You can miss threes if you're getting some rebounds. They weren't. And Luka Doncic, he played like we're used to seeing Jokic play. Yep. He just goes on stretches where he's unguardable. And he's ability to handle the ball, control the game. He whines. My God, is he a fine whine. We thought LeBron cried Oh my God, does Luka whine? But he's such a special player. I just wish he wouldn't do it as much, because it does at one point detract from his game when every play, every whistle is him whining. Like, get a pacifier, would you please? But God, is he good? And I mean, the Lakers deserved it, and they're not a good team because they
No.
don't defend, and they have the same issues where their roster's not constructed well. But LeBron got hot, Luka got hot. There wasn't that second answer for Jamal. Once he cooled down, that's when Jokic would have taken over the game, and there was no one to take it over last night.
Yeah, no question. All right, with that, everybody has their favorite sports bar, and you need to check out the Sportsbook Bar and Grill. That's in the Highlands Ranch DTC, and of course at Parker. All their locations have everything that a sports bar can possibly have. A tremendous array of burgers, 12 different kinds of burgers, outstanding wings, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls, which of course are a staple in Eric's house. The cheese curds are even fantastic, with a tip of the hat to our friends from the North and the Packers. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, Major League MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Plus soccer, rugby, UFC. It's a hangout bar. Great for private parties. It's the Sportsbook Bar and Grill, and it's there for you in the Highlands Ranch, DTC, now in Parker, the sports bar. Let's get to the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it is one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue off 36th and Pecos.
All right, Troy, as the Broncos reconvene today on Wednesday, their first look of on-field preps. Of course, they've been working on this game plan pretty arduously, I would imagine, and feverishly since about Sunday night. What do you think, beyond the obvious storyline that is Jarrett Stidham, the obvious and the overwhelming storyline, but now from the standpoint of looking beyond just that, because we can talk about that and we will, what are the main storylines now that are going to emerge out of Dove Valley and the preparations for the Patriots?
Yeah, it's interesting. You see this, it's now taking on a life of its own, the idea of the backup quarterback coming in and playing the role in a Disney movie. I'm convinced, Bruce, Jared Stidham can't win this game, but Stiddy can. He's got like a persona.
Well said.
Stiddy can.
Right.
What are the storylines beyond that? When I watch the Patriots, and I know you're a Boston guy, you understand them, I just felt like they're vulnerable because Drake May is putting the ball on the ground, and he's going to be playing his first road playoff game at altitude in front of a crowd that will be full throat for 3 hours. That's a challenge. I've watched Tom Brady play the worst games of his career in Denver because of either the wind, the altitude, or the noise. So those are factors that gives Denver a puncher's chance. But what are some of the things that can make it happen? I'm telling you right now, it sounds crazy after they got 5 takeaways. The defense has to play better.
Yeah.
If we narrow down to the microscopic details of that Buffalo win, and it was one of the best games at the new stadium that we've ever seen, the defense gave up some huge plays, and Allen missed probably 2 touchdowns?
Yep. Right.
I mean, if you watch the film, Buffalo should have won. Allen, uncharacteristic, not just the fumble at halftime. Everyone's talking about that. He had a couple of missed strikes later in that game where you're like, it's game over, and it wasn't. So the 5 takeaways are, great for a team that now has 7-2 games. So when you start talking about game plan, can you get Dobbins back or whomever just to stay on the field without asking Stidham to throw 40 times? And defensively, Bruce, can you make Drake May miserable? I'm talking 5 sacks. He's been sacked 10 times, 5 in each game. He faced 2 really good defenses. And Houston's defense in some ways is similar to Denver. But can you make him miserable where he's in 3rd and long? Because that leads to mistakes, or they just turtle. It either leads to mistakes because you can't hear and you get false starts and you do stuff that's uncharacteristic, or your coach just, you know what, we're going to hand the ball off and we're going to try to win. So that would be the best way for me. What are they working on is defensively, how can they confuse the kid and make him miserable under pressure to ease the burden on Stidham?
It's interesting. Everyone will talk about Jarrett Stidham, and I get it. But I think Drake May is the major storyline. How does Drake May handle this moment? This is his first moment period, in a game like this where everything is on the table and you've got to go get a win to get to the Super Bowl. You've not been in this kind of environment. You have not. Look, I'm going to give the Broncos, or the Patriots rather, their due.
Yeah.
They didn't play a great schedule. We all understand that, but that's kind of lazy. The fact that they have handled things in a mature fashion. They've gotten better as they've gone defensively. They've gotten better as they've gone offensively. For me, it's Drake May in the moment, and you just touched upon it. What the Broncos do best is what the Patriots do worst, and that is basically, at least in the last couple of games, protect Drake May. So can you create enough noise? Can you create enough confusion? Can you speed him up enough to get him out of his comfort zone in an environment, as you've already touched upon, that is going to be unlike anything he's ever played in? Anything he's ever played in, from North Carolina to the Patriots, now in the NFL. He will not have played in an environment like this from a standpoint of hostility. And that's the difference. You can be in a loud crowd that is cheering for you and pushing for you. You feel the momentum. It's the air in the sails. But this is the gale force against you. When you come into a place like this, where you have educated fans that make your life a living hell, can you produce in those types of situations? For me, I mean, and that's giving credit to the Broncos defense, because I'm hoping that the last weekend was a one-off and that they can go back to being more of a dependable entity in terms of yards given up, points given up, and they can continue to turn the ball over. But I don't know. I'm just, there's something about the whole newness of this situation for Drake May that I don't think is being discussed very much.
Yeah, and the reason I say it, people are like, you're looking for a reason for the Broncos to have hope. I'm not looking. I've covered the best and biggest games here for 30 years. And it's just, when you get into 3rd and long with this crowd, you feel helpless because you can't audible. You see a look, but you can't change it because your lineman can't hear. So you're stuck. So what do? Do you just take the easy way out, check down, and live to fight another day? Or do you challenge guys? And that's where it's that balance. And again, Tom Brady in the last AFC Championship game here, his first half was dreadful, and then he played out of his freaking mind in the second half of that game where Gronk got hot. But this isn't, I said in my column on Sunday night, New England doesn't look anything like old England. That had Gronk. That had Brady. That had Belichick. Like, it was just, they inspired fear, and the resume was real. It's not there yet. A year from now, it might be with May, where we're looking back, and just as you said, this was his defining moment. But, I mean, Bruce, are we going to sit here and tell me that he's better than Josh Allen? I mean, from a talent perspective, he's a comp, no doubt.
Right.
But you're going to tell me that after what we just watched with Josh Allen, that Drake May's better than Josh Allen? Now, could he take care of the ball better? I think that's obviously the key, but that's the challenge. And so when you're Nick Bonito, and Cooper's been really quiet the last 4 or 5 weeks, so it's either Cooper or Ellis, or DeAndre Tillman. When you get to him, you're thinking strip sack.
Yeah.
You're not thinking sack. You're thinking get the ball on the ground. He's fumbled 6 times in the last 3 in 2 games and been sacked 10 times. There's going to be an opening there. Their young tackle had just a nightmare game against the Texans pressure. It's got to be that kind of thing. And if, again, the reason I walked away from that game thinking the Broncos have hope is, unless C.J. Stroud had LASIK surgery scheduled for today and didn't tell anyone, he could not have played worse. And everyone's like, oh, the Patriots defense caused that. No, it wasn't. It was partly the weather, I guess, but he was making plays that high school kids don't make. If you watched, I don't know that I've ever seen a quarterback in the playoffs in the last decade look that uncomfortable. Those first 6 quarters of playoff he put out there against the Steelers and against the Texans. I mean, it was just rush, 3 flies up. I mean, if we had, I said this on my pod, if we had a drinking game where every time Joe Buck said, it's up for grabs, you and I would be hammered. We'd be passed out. Like, so that's my point. Like, you can credit the defense, but any veteran quarterback just throws it away. You're not just throwing it up for grabs and tossing it to the middle of the line of scrimmage. So these are reasons, but they're well coached. They're really good, but they don't run the ball great. They're inconsistent on the ground, and Drake May will take sacks. That is the avenue. Because the problem is, if you have to chase them and they get ahead 17-3 or 14, you're in a terrible spot for the Broncos because it's probably no Pat Bryant, probably no Troy Franklin. We don't know about Dobbins, but if he could give you 10 carries, that'd be great. But if the Broncos have to throw 40, 45 times, they don't have the weapons for that. They're not going to win a game like that. You would just have to stay tethered, Bruce, to win a close game late. And that's why, for me, the onus is on the defense to come up and make plays. I'm not saying it's fair, but that's where they are.
You know what? They've handled it all season. It would be, you would think that they'd be able to handle it in the most important moment of the season. You went by two things that I wanted to just really quickly get to. There's, I think, a developing panacea out there for Broncos country that, oh my God, J.K. Dobbins could be back, and people could immediately start thinking about the 750 yards rushing, fourth leading rusher, third leading rusher in the NFL, kind of J.K. Dobbins. If, and that's with a capital I and F, if J.K. Dobbins is back, what is reasonable to expect from him more than just kind of a couple of appearances at maybe this time or that time?
Yeah, it's got more ifs than a Kipling poem right here, Bruce.
Right. Well done.
Listen, if we're doing the math, let's be fair to Dobbins. He would be essentially 3 weeks ahead of recovery.
Yes.
It's a lot to ask. I mean, initially when it happened, sources around him that were painting an optimistic picture were saying Super Bowl, meaning Super Bowl game, not even necessarily practicing fully for a Super Bowl. So you're talking about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. But I know Dobbins was telling people on the field a few weeks ago, walking around, that, hey, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back. He knows his body, and he's been through a litany of injuries. So he knows what this looks like, not necessarily with the foot, but he's been through every kind of injury imaginable. Can you get him 10 carries, 8 to 10 carries, even if it's 8 for 32, but it's just one of them, 2 of them are first downs on 3rd and 3. Like, it's just have to narrow the lens and think, okay, it's the first quarter or your third drive of the game and you're down 10-3, and he gets you a first down on your own 45 with a 5-yard gain, keeps the chains moving, keeps the process going. And then in the fourth quarter, when you're at midfield and you got to have a field goal, you're able to hand him the ball and he gets you 3 when you need 2. That's what I need, because what people don't understand about Dobbins, I think they lose. It was 772 yards in 10 games. We get that. Right. In the second half of games, Bruce, he was 5.6 a carry. RJ Harvey is right around 2.3 in the second half now. And McLaughlin's decent. They just don't trust him. And he's not totally a between the tackles guy. Dobbins, over the course of his career, has been one of the best guys against the full box in, 8-man front. No one the last year I don't think was better than him. So that's where they're going to do this and challenge Stidham to beat him. And if Dobbins can break off a couple that they're like, okay, we got to at least play fair and play straight here. We cannot put 8 and 9 in the box because Dobbins is showing some juice. So but again, folks, we want to be real. We don't even know if he's playing. So don't go crazy. But if he does, I would just say be fair to Dobbins, because he's legitimately 3 weeks ahead of schedule. So I imagine if he does play, he's going to be on a pitch count.
I would imagine. Yesterday, it was kind of a let's get the band back together kind of day with Brandon Johnson coming back into the fold. Will he be active on Sunday?
I mean, I think there's a good chance.
I do
because
too.
They know him, and he could play some special teams if he had to. A smart guy. Sean Payton wouldn't have brought him in if he doesn't think he could play this week. Right. And I mean, it might be 3 snaps, it might be special teams, but it really hurts losing both Brian and Franklin. Franklin's kind of faded over the last 3-4 weeks, but obviously Pat Bryant was a huge part of the game plan against the Bills. He had 3 catches for 32 yards on the first drive.
Right.
But now he's had 2 concussions in the span of 3 weeks and 2 games. I would be surprised if he played, just knowing how that process kind of works. So Johnson could help. I mean, he could help. I mean, you're going to have somebody step up. And if we're being realistic, Johnson's, let's say he's a special teams guy and gets 3 or 4 offensive snaps. As I keep telling, the onus is on the defense. Well, the onus is on Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims Jr.
Yeah, no
to have
question.
big games. I mean, Sutton didn't have a catch, Bruce, until like 5 minutes left in the game. If that happens again on Sunday, they're losing. Like, he can't wait until the last 2 drives of the game. He's got to be 8 for 92, and Mims, it might be 3 catches, but one of them's got to be a big one.
What are the biggest things that Jarrett Stidham has got to overcome to be ready to go on Sunday? I'm going to throw one at you right off the bat. And I'm going to ask Sean about it today. Do you just count on muscle memory to approximate speed of game when you haven't been in game? I don't care whether you're a 5 or 6 year NFL veteran. When you haven't played in the speed of a game with live ammunition being used around you, you become much more aware of that and much more comfortable with that, instead of it all of a sudden being, oh, hey, by the way, get on the get on the 5 in LA right now. You've got to go from 30 to 100 miles an hour, and you've got to do it by the time that you get to the entry ramp. That is the biggest concern to me.
Yeah, because when you look at baseball, for instance, there's a reason guys go out on a rehab assignment for, get 10 at bats, 12 at bats. It's just to get recalibrated, to see it live pitching. You know it from baseball.
Right.
It's like you can take a million cuts in the cage. You get in the box against live pitching, everything happens faster. The decision making, all that process happens faster. And the problem for Stidham, it happens a tick faster in the playoffs. Guys play harder. They do. And you just watch the games. They're more physical.
Right.
It's just everything's even faster. So you're getting on a moving train that you haven't been on in 2+ years. There's no overstating how difficult that is. So I would expect, I talked to Luke McCown about this. He was a backup for Sean Payton years ago, about a decade ago. He had one huge game for Sean as a backup quarterback. Obviously, I think Sean's 17-5 in his career with backup quarterbacks.
Unreal.
So he knows how to design this. My guess is he's going to have the ball out of his hands quickly on dump downs and bubble screens. Hopefully it's not too many wide receiver screens, or Jeremy Crushaw is going to pull his hamstring punting, because they don't block that ball well. I mean, if the plan is, I've said this repeatedly, like Tyler Bidet is to the screen pass for the Broncos what Iguodala was to the corner 3-pointer for the Nuggets.
Nice.
Like, just take that play away,
right?
Bury it under the field house and never speak of it again. But they're going to have some easy passes for him. The guy that could do it, and I say it, they never do it, so I don't know why I waste my breath. See, I wasted my breath now. It's so good. Is Ingram.
Yeah.
That stick route. 6 route, boom, 6. But the problem is when he's in the game, they don't run the ball. So it's a tell. But what are the challenge? You identified it, Bruce. The game's going to be really fast. I don't care that he's a veteran. He's 29. The guys believe in him, and he's played his ass off against the team in practice. And he looked great in the preseason, and he's smart. All these things we like about Stiddy. I talk to the guy all the time. He gets it. But it's different jumping on the moving train or trying to fix the plane while it's in the air. That's a different thing. And it's not like he's walking into, where he's got 3 or 4 weapons where you're like, oh, yeah, they can take the pressure off of him. Who are those weapons? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, even Peyton Manning in 10 years ago, he had Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, Owen Daniel played the game of his life. C.J. Anderson, like, he had more than Stidham has right now. I mean, so that's the difficulty is how, and for me, like Owen Daniel was huge. That's why I'm saying whether it's Ingram or a sneak play or two to take the pressure off. Because if you're going to ask Stidham to go on 14 play drives where he's dumping down, I just think that's unfair to him. For a guy who hasn't completed a pass since the end of the 23 season. Like, we're going to say, go out there and go 30 for 42. Like, come on now. That's not fair to Stidham. Might be fair to Stiddy, but it's not fair. It's not fair. No, it's just not fair.
We'll have to see. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, one of Jarrett Stidham's, or Stiddy, whichever guy we're talking to, former teammate and a pretty significant one, thinks that he should just go out and let it rip. What Max Crosby thinks, because that's the source of our brilliance here, quoting Max Crosby as we continue here on Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hottakes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a pair of snowmobiles or nearly $18,000 in cash the weekend of February 20th. It's your choice what you want, the 2 snowmobiles or the cash. Earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming points on your player card. You can also earn a chance to win during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, great promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
All right, welcome back. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Troy Renck in today, as he will be for the rest of the week, and what great timing to have Troy in as we head towards the AFC Championship game. Don't forget our friends out at Ferguson Heating and Cooling, an honest family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts, equipment. They always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. It's as simple as going to FergusonHeatingandCooling.com. Good to see Terrence Ferguson, by the way, being a guy. I would like it if the Broncos would figure out to use Evan Engram like Sean McVay has figured out using Terrence Ferguson now. I mean, he may not be their top, but he's used. I mean, there's not a game that goes by that he doesn't make a key play for the Rams, but
they have 3 tight ends, Bruce. They use the Broncos, Higbee, Parkinson, and Ferguson. The Broncos, they get like a sprinkle of Adam Troutman. Yeah, they need a tight end in the draft.
Yeah, they do.
The kid from Oregon would be nice, and the kid that replaced Ferguson at Oregon would be nice.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, he's Sadiq or whatever his name
is.
A hell of a player. All right, Max Crosby weighed in yesterday or the day before on his former teammate Jarrett Stidham on Sirius Radio. He said this first about the personality of the guy, the competitiveness of the guy. I used to go against him in practice. We'd get into it all the time because, well, I can't help myself. I hit backup quarterbacks all the time. But the one thing that I respected the most about Stiddy is that he never backed down whatsoever, that he would talk shit back to me, his words, not mine. I was like, okay, I like this guy. I can go into the foxhole with him. Let's start, Troy, with that element of who Jarrett Stidham is. I started saying on Sunday night after the game, or Saturday night after the game, that this would be the best thing in this situation. This is the best thing about having a guy like Jarrett Stidham. First of all, he does have some demonstrated ability, to give a nod to Sean Payton in terms of his confidence. But the love, the respect, the work that he's done in the locker room, the way that guys believe in him, that is all real. That's not manufactured. And that does give you a head start on getting him ready to try to play in a game like this. He knows the offense. He's been rooted in it for 3 years. Yes, he hasn't played for the better part of 2 years, but he's got faith and belief and trust in the locker room. Pretty good place to start.
Yeah, and I know people roll their eyes at this, and I get it. I really do. But there are certain guys that teammates rally around.
Yeah, they are.
And he's one of them. I would say if you took a poll of most popular guys in the locker room, he should be top 5. Stiddy knows everybody. He's got a wisecrack. He's kind of the DJ at times. He goes on vacations with teammates. Like, he's just one of those guys. And he comes across as kind of funny and sly and goofy. And I'm telling you, the guy has an edge, a real edge to him. So that's kind of the veneer that he's fun. He's good to be around. He's a good vibes guy. Like we talked about when we thought Wedgwood would make the Canadian Olympic team. He's a great vibes guy. If you've ever been in the locker room with the Avs, Scott Wedgwood, great vibes guy. But he's also a really good player.
Yeah.
And that's what you'd hope with Stidham. He's a great vibes guy. He gets it. And he pushes buttons with everyone and has fun and enjoys conversation. But at the end of the day, he's really competitive.
Yeah. He's really competitive.
But to your point, I would much rather have a guy in this position that teammates like and want to rally around than some doofus that they know hasn't put the time in. And it's like, oh my, I got to drive the car now? I haven't even passed the tests. I don't even have my license. And I've seen backup quarterbacks not be ready. Not saying names. It rhymes with Ruach. But like Drew Lock, he wasn't ready. They're used to being a starter the whole time. And it's like, I don't get any reps during the week. No one does. You run the scout team. And you have to do it in a way that's mental reps. That's why it's typically an older guy in that role. And so, nothing against Drew. He's matured greatly since he left here.
Yes, he is. Yes.
And they trust him in Seattle now. He wasn't ready to be a backup when he was here.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And it's not they're rallying around the guy like, oh, he's funny guy. Like, no, when I've talked to guys, they see him in practice make plays against this defense. That's what gives you confidence. Not that it helps that you like him. It helps that you want to win for him, no doubt. But the bigger picture is you see him every day in practice on the scout team making plays, so it gives you something to hold on to.
Well said. And that leads into the next level of this quote from Max Crosby. Denver already has a top defense, a good running game. They have a good offensive line. I think he just needs to be himself. Don't go out there trying not to lose. You got to go out there and let it rip. Now, this may be the point of departure in terms of the game plan for Sean Payton. In 1,000 years, would Sean Payton allow Jarrett Stidham to go out and let it rip? Maybe at some point in the game when they absolutely have to have it, but I can't imagine that being part of the game plan. I think this is going to be more of a Stiddy needs to make his plays, but he needs to manage the offense more than he does make plays in the offense.
Yeah, Max Crosby, and I love Max Crosby. Nobody plays harder every play than this dude. He's talking in terms of playing for the Raiders, like, hey, who cares? Let it rip. Let's see what we got. This is the AFC Championship. This isn't the time to let your hair down and just let it all out. Like, there's no way in hell Peyton's going to just say, you know what, Stiddy, just do whatever you do.
Let it go, babe.
However it turns out, I mean, we'll be back here again. Who knows? This is a common occurrence. Have fun, Stiddy. You can go on all the rides at the amusement park. You're tall enough. Go do them all. Like, come on now. It's going to be a couple of strikes he dials up, like the Mims one this last game. Like, that's what it's going to be. There's going to be 2 or 3 moments in the game where he trusts Stiddy to let it eat. And you just hope in that case you connect. And they're not going to just let him play whatever game he wants. They're not. That wouldn't even make sense.
No.
But they may have to lean on him more than they'd like if they can't run the ball at all. But it's the old, Bruce, it's the old, can you take chances and take care of the ball?
Right.
And there's going to be a couple of strikes because whatever you think of Sean Payton as a play caller, he will dial up 2 or 3 plays every game. You're like, oh my God, is that guy open? What a play call. And that's when you got to hit it.
What is the percentage, the difference in terms of percentage of how much harder it is for the Broncos to win with Stidham at quarterback compared to Bo Nix?
I'll just say this. Let's take you and I out of it. I don't gamble, but I love the way wise guys see lines because they're objective about it and it's money involved. They're not doing anything willy-nilly. The line was going to be -1 Broncos favorite, and it's now 5. So that speaks to it. If it's Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes, the line probably would have gone to 7. But it's showing you the difficulty of, you're talking about a 6-point swing without Bo Nix from a line perspective. That's not small. That is not a small flip.
No.
So it is difficult. Again, if this game were on the road, I'm going to be transparent. I'd give the Broncos no chance to win. No chance.
Yeah.
But because it's at home, so what is the challenge? It's real. It's real. But I would just step back and say it's not fair to Stidham to say you go out and win it. That doesn't even make sense.
No.
But listen, I've seen people like, why would you think they could win it? I covered the 07 Rockies when Josh Fogg outpitched Jake Peavy in the wild card play-in game. Jake Peavy, who was going to win the Cy Young a couple months after that. The Dragon Slayer. But all he did, he just kept it even. He didn't, outpitch is probably relative, but he kept them tethered. He didn't go 1 2/3, 6 runs. He kept them in the game, and that's how you win a game like this. Is Stidham just plays steady. You look up at half, he's 10 for 16, 120 yards, no picks, maybe a touch. It's that kind of game. And if he does that, they stay on pace, then you would think they'd be in position to win late. Because it's not just Nix. He's incredibly clutch. Their team's battle tested. They know how to win late and come from behind more than any team in the league. So if you just keep them in that position, these guys will know that's where their muscle memory that you brought up earlier, it all comes into play. They've won all these close games. So, but it is significant. And I don't want to ever downplay that because there's a reason no quarterbacks really have done this. Frank Reich did it. The only quarterback, and you probably used this stat, the last quarterback to start a conference championship game without starting during the season was Roger Staubach in 1972.
Yeah.
And he got crushed against Washington. But he had 20 pass attempts the week before.
Yeah.
And he was rotating in and out during that season with Craig Morton. That, again, it's unlikely based on history. But I saw Drake May. I saw him struggle, and I'm just saying there's a chance. There's a pathway to a victory if you create short fields, take the pressure off Stidham.
Yeah, I said at the start, it's a longer path. It's more windy. It's more fraught with peril. You got to squint to see the end of it, right? You need the binoculars that we use at practice to see who's out there. But there is a path. I totally agree. Let's shift to coaching. VJ, we knew was going to be a hot commodity. It looks like there's a lot of momentum for him in Arizona, where he has a lot of experience. How surprised are you that we've seen the gathering momentum for Davis Webb, particularly in Buffalo, where maybe they're willing to take a chance on a young offensive guy? There are other places now where Davis Webb's name is starting to emerge as well. Are there, at the end of the day, 2 very legitimate head coaching candidates on this staff?
Yeah, VJ to Arizona, that's his most likely landing spot. Yeah. It kind of stinks, but I think he would probably be able to get the best out of Kyler Murray. That's the key. He 100% deserves a second chance in this coaching cycle. But Davis Webb's 30. And normally I would say I don't mind that because Sean McVay did it. The fact he's never called plays makes it like if he's going to do it, he's going to have to bring some veteran coaches around him. But he is just wowing people with his mind. the same way he did when he got hired here, where they had the interview and he's driving away and they're like, why didn't we just hire him on the spot? And that's how he is. He's so smart. And he's been this way since he was like 16, 17 years old, and the way he sees the game. And these coaches, these teams are looking for that next bright offensive mind. And I think he's got the personality because he played the position. Like you could say, well, that's Mike McDaniel. But, you have to get comfortable with Mike's intricacies. Like he's a little eccentric, whereas Webb's got that. He's got a physical presence about him. He's like 6'5". I don't know what he weighs now, but let's say he's 215. I mean, he used to weigh probably 230. He's a big guy.
And he can still spin it.
He can play quarterback as a backup. Player coach, he's going to be Pete Rose. He's going to be Bill Russell. But I think he's got a shot from everything I've been told the last couple of weeks and even recently. He definitely has a shot in the Las Vegas, a shot in Baltimore, and a shot in Buffalo.
Yeah.
It would surprise me, given his close relationship with Buffalo with Allen. I don't know if there's enough years removed from that.
Fair.
That's like when the Rockies were going to hire Jason Giambi to go right from player to coach. It would have been weird. I mean, Jason was that point was like 44, so it was a little different because he was in age. But it's weird to turn around from being a teammate to coaching guys. There's no question about that. I would think it would just surprise me they would take him over Joe Brady. If they took him over Joe Brady, obviously then something's going on with Joe Brady because he's been in the building and Josh has worked pretty well with him. But I would think that this is the last. If he doesn't get the head coaching job this year, he will next year. But here's the thing. If I'm Vance Joseph, I try to take him with me wherever I go.
Totally. Absolutely. He becomes your offensive coordinator. He becomes your quarterback whisperer in a difficult situation in Arizona where Kyler Murray has just not been the type of quarterback that they need in the toughest division in the NFL. So there are some real problems that are built in there. But it's really interesting. Davis Webb, I'm old, so I've done this a long time. I'm trying to think of a more impressive assistant, and maybe it would be Vance Joseph. I think Vance is a very impressive, even-keeled, very smart, really looks at the game and in lots of different layers, has a tremendous approach to it and communicates it in a very impressive, thought-provoking way. Davis Webb is the same kind of guy. He would be in my top 10 of all time, and we're talking over 40 years of just talking with coaches, assistant coaches. He's got star written all over him, but he's got star written all over him because he's got such great knowledge, and I can see how that would interview. I can see how you love the shiny toy with a different look at the way offenses are run because everybody loves points being scored. And I think Davis Webb, sooner rather than later, and I would agree with you, maybe this year isn't the cycle, although the Buffalo thing is intriguing with his boy Josh Allen. But by next year, this guy's going to be too hard to hold.
You were reminding me, like, well, who was an assistant that was so impressive young? I'll tell you who was Mike Shanahan when I covered the Broncos.
Yeah, I bet.
Everyone knew that, like, holy crap, this guy is on a different level, and he and Elway, and like you just knew and that he's going to be a head coach someday. And I covered him as an assistant, and the Raiders thing was a disaster, but then he goes to San Francisco and turns Steve Young into the greatest quarterback, single season ever, win a Super Bowl. Then he comes back to Denver, and they don't win Super Bowls without Mike Shanahan and the marriage of Shanahan and Elway. And he was a little older than Webb. I just, if I'm Webb, he's going to have chances. I think I would want to call plays one season before I become a head coach. He's so young. You just don't want to jump into that seat a year or two early that screws up your career arc. And maybe he is ready. And if he, if for me, I'm thinking if I were in that same spot, I would have liked to have called plays for a year, not in like one preseason game or a half of a game. That's just a lot if he's going to also be the head coach and call plays. Now, if he's not going to call the plays, then that's a little different. But then why are you hiring him?
That's the point. Absolutely. No question about it. All right, Troy, one down, two more to go, my friend. We've got a lot to cover over the weekend. We haven't even talked about something near and dear to both of us, and you, of course, as a voter. The Hall of Fame adds two guys. One of them, and I'll leave this as a tease for tomorrow, I guess could be deemed somewhat controversially in that he was involved with something that was very controversial at the time in the history of Major League Baseball. Keep in mind that it's Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones that go into the Hall of Fame, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Troy, have a good one. We'll see you, everybody, and have a good day.